that I've always wanted to talk about. So I'll let you talk about it. What's the basic difference between a business and a startup?
Okay, all startups are businesses, all businesses are not startups.
Okay. You have to elaborate more on that.
Okay, businesses are what? You get something into your. Actually, business is nothing. Think of a business as a person.
Okay.
Okay, that person goes to a job, does something for that job, and gets salary in return.
Profit.
Profit. That's all simple. Okay, but if you see as a business, a shop, they get goods, store them, and then they sell it at a higher rate.
Right.
So what's the value that they're creating here?
Not much.
Not much.
Yes.
But the value here is that a customer had to go to some other place to get the goods for their consumption.
Accessibility
Accessibility. So this accessibility,
is the value that they create.
Yeah, is a service that they're providing, right? Making things affordable and approachable.
Approachable.
Right? Sometimes, if you take it one level up, you get this water bottle, but you don't have the label on it. I put a label. So now I have all the information added, and with this information, I'm selling the water bottle to you.
That's the value I add.
So that's the value I'm adding, right?
Okay.
And for this value additions, I get money.
Right.
The simple and straight business. Now, if I am selling, say, one bottle, like I may do it. If I'm selling 10 bottles, I would be able to do it. 1,000 bottles, probably yes. But when I have to sell 1 million bottles, I have to have a big setup to take care of this, right? I cannot do that because I'm running my day-to-day businesses. That level of growth, if I have to achieve, it will take me several years. And all throughout these years, I have to do a careful planning of the finances of the business, of my personal finances also.
Okay. Right.
Right? So here, the concept of external funding comes in. You tell another person that, see, I have all these things set up. All I need to do is just increase my production capacity. For that, I need this machinery. You give me some money, I'll increase the capacity, and with the increased revenues, you get a cut.
Okay.
Increased profits, I'll give you a margin of it, a share of it.
So for scalability, you often get investors.
Yes.
Scalability can be in terms of a sort of increasing your capacity, increasing your production, increasing your manufacturing, or it may be to reach more people.
Exactly.
Right.
That's precisely what it is. Now, if you see back in the 90s, the first level of investments were typically from the open market. A company who is selling these water bottles, when it wanted to increase its capacity, it would straight away go for an IPO,
Right.
get money from the public. Okay, the moment you go for an IPO, SEBI would tell that, okay, are you a trustable business or not? Okay, if you are a trustable business, then that means you follow these compliances, these standards of work ethics,
Right.
right? Then only I'll let you raise money from public.
Okay.
And that is why if you see Infosys shares, which are probably floated at 10 rupees face value, now, well, you know where it is,
We know.
right? So that entire journey was a huge opportunity area for people who have already a lot of money in their hands. They would come and tell a business that, listen, don't put the public, take my money. And these are the private equity,
Right.
right? Angels, all those things.
All those things, yes. We have a name for all of them now.
Yeah, now we have.
Earlier,
so many names.
they used to be just investors.
Just investors, right? So that's what the entire thing is about. So an external funding would give you the leverage to scale up rapidly.
Okay.
Now when that becomes the main motivation of a company to operate,
Okay.
then that is somewhere a startup is not to be honest, a dictionary definition of a startup is what? You're just starting up,
Right.
right? It should be defined in terms of timeline. How old are you? Not how fast you are growing. But now that has
Changed.
colloquially changed, yes.
So that's the basic difference between business and startups. Like you said in the beginning, all startups are businesses, but all businesses are not startups.
All businesses are also startups.
We're startups.
Were startups for the first 1 year of their operation. After that, they were businesses.
And now after Shark Tank, everybody knows everything about startups and angels and private equity and everything. Probably.
Yeah, they do.
They do. So there's a lot of awareness also, and that's the reason we see an influx of investors into the market, and every IPO is being oversubscribed, and every time an IPO comes, LinkedIn is flooded with so much information. Everybody is analyzing everything now, which is good. There's a certain level of awareness, but at the same time, I feel somehow this leads people to invest in businesses which they do not know much about, or they do not understand or cannot relate to, but just because of word of mouth. So
But if you see, like, again, in startup terms, there is something called as glamorous startups. Many are not. Now that you talked about IPOs being floated, how often are they floated? Like, probably there's at least one IPO or two IPOs every month.
every month, yes.
Right? But how many of them do you know about as a normal public?
Of course.
You would get to know about the IPO of Paytm. Right?
And only when an influencer speaks about it.
Yeah, and moreover, Paytm is famous.
Paytm is famous.
But did you know that Inox also had an IPO for its windmills?
Honestly, I'll tell you, I've seen people do not get newspapers these days. So if it's not on some social media, I doubt they know about it.
Exactly, because that is not the glamorous route. And one thing that I've seen is that there are a lot of these silent rich people in Bangalore. You would see them driving around an EV, wearing a Hawaii chappal, right? But they are owners of
Yes, because
multiple crores.
when they see an opportunity, they invest, and they do their own analysis. They have their own team, and most people do not see that part. So there's this book, I think, I do not remember the name, but there was a difference. There's a difference being wealthy and being rich. You can notice when somebody is rich, but you can hardly notice somebody who's wealthy.
Yeah. And there are so many of them, so many. I one of my relatives in his village, there's a person who ventured into this trucking business
Okay.
back in 2002, 3, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Okay, with just one truck. By 2010, he had 75 trucks.
Oh, wow.
No external investment.
See, that's the kind of stories we do not hear. We just see the glamorous part of it. But
Yeah,
there are stories, and there are stories in every village, every city in India, but we miss them because they are not advertised, they are not talked about, or they do not appear in some YouTube channel, or pitching in Shark Tank, or Insta selling their product. So these are the things that we notice basically.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of wealth stories that go unnoticed, and most wealth stories actually go unnoticed.
Yeah, they do.
It's the being rich and being glamorous parts that get noticed.
Yeah.
Nobody knew of Warren Buffett for a long time, and I bet many people I have come across many people who do not know who Charlie Munger was. When Charlie Munger died and we were talking about it, I saw most people do not know. So it happens.
They don't. And moreover, like this glamour thing, I was able to pinpoint when Cult Fitness hired a Russian.
Yes.
Right. I remember the first cult center opening in Bangalore, and I had observed that also. It was one of a kind.
I felt that about Sold Store, because most people, when I started buying Sold Store, they were not this expensive. But then some
Disney.
No, not even Disney. Some actors and actresses started investing, becoming a part, and suddenly
Sara Ali
it grew. Yes, Sara Ali Khan is one of them, and so it suddenly grew. The prices suddenly increased. Now everybody knows about Soul Store. Their whole collection has changed. They have come up with so many products, and of course the company had potential, but most people knew it only after there was some glamour brought into it.
Yeah, glamour is necessary.
Glamour is very necessary.
This is one of my most favorite taglines that I tell people, not taglines, references. Have you watched Dirty Picture? Entertainment.
Right.
That's all.
So, talking of wealth stories and success stories, I also see a lot of startups dying because they don't have funding, or they didn't get a runway to reach a level where they could even break even or do some profit or do businesses, because everybody starts up with a limited amount of money, and if they do not get investors on time, I heard even Sugar Cosmetics was on that verge where they had a little runway, and had they not got investment or new funding, they would have just had to shut shop. So there are a lot of startups failing also.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say to them?
See, take funding when you need it.
Okay.
Glamour is necessary, everything is necessary, but everything has to be in a check. So in most of our consulting, we tell that, okay, your business, this is the formula of your business, and this is we have a formula.
Okay.
We tell that this is your business. It is P equals to sum of your X times goods sold minus the COGS plus sum of all variable costs and all those things.
We're not getting into technicalities, don't worry. Yeah. But every business has a revenue model, a profit model.
Just profit is equal to all these. Now you break everything down and have a check each and every variable throughout time.
Okay. So do you think, and correct me if I'm wrong, do you think that every company, every startup or every businesses should at proper intervals see how much fund they have, how much profit they're getting, what is their break-even point, and then see whether they can continue at this level or get funding now? But there has to be some point that they have to decide, no, this is it, we've done something, now we need to go for further funding. So what is the time? Like, what is there a perfect time? Or if there's not a perfect time, is there, somewhere in their journey where they should hire somebody or they should take an opinion and start thinking about investors? Like, a lot of startups come to you for funding and you arrange capital for them. So when do you think is the right time to do it?
See, it's always the right time to take funding. Okay.
But even investors need to see something in the...
Typically, if I have to equate what an investor thinks, 50% is about the person, or about the team.
Okay.
Okay, I'm giving you money. Would you be able to generate me a revenue or not?
So it depends on the entrepreneur, importantly.
Mostly. Yeah, so those are the companies that get funded. If you see Byju's, he was
of course.
He was extremely famous even before this tech started. And this is also like Kretz guy, what is his name? Anyways, so he got funded even before Kretz started. This is what is an open secret.
And it's still in loss.
Maybe.
Kretz has not made profit as far as I know.
Yeah, but there are many people. I personally know of a person who just went with a PPT. One fine day he was working with me, next day he went to an investor who showed up a PPT and he got funded.
Oh.
Even we had a chance once.
Okay.
So, but then we decided no, we'll go bootstrap entirely. Right. Somehow we felt that okay, things are not right now.
I think
and for us, we just went with the design. This is how a product will look like.
So the guy who wrote Psychology of Money has also written a new book, and it says that if you even have a small idea, or if you have a great idea and you're a good storyteller, there's 100% chance that you will win. I think that applies to the entrepreneur also. If he knows how to tell, how to pitch, and if he has a good story, then I guess he'll get an investor. And of course, if his idea is good.
But it's not about the idea, it's about the person actually.
The way he presents the idea, right?
How deeply you're involved in it, how clear you are in your thought process.
Okay.
So those things matter a lot.
And then, since we're talking about startups and you also have a co-founder, you have a team, so how do you manage conflicts?
You have to discuss it out, you have to call it out. See, there's a conflict here.
But does that not spoil your relationship as friends? Like, I've seen a lot of people starting up businesses and then parting ways because somewhere down the line their thought processes changed. They were probably not able to discuss their conflicts better, and I don't know how does somebody manage something like that? Because we're all humans at the end of the day. We have all emotions.
Documentations come into play.
Set up processes.
You document each and everything.
Okay.
In fact, we have a starter kit. The first lecture talks about not the first lecture, the second lecture talks about if you have not found as a co-founder, or even if you are a group of people, set up the expectations within yourselves first. Who is going to handle what responsibility areas? What are the KPIs are? To check the
Avoid
performance.
clashes from day one.
No, like say, a startup decides to meet every Friday to discuss what has happened in that entire week. Okay, you handle the marketing, you are handling the sales, you are handling the products, I am handling the finances.
Right.
We have set information to present to all the people that this is what I have done, this is where we are, this is where we are going to be.
So, Archie, we've talked about everything almost, and I know the answer to the question that I'm going to ask, but I want my viewers to know, how do you have a work-life balance? And see, I'm smiling as I ask this, but you have to answer it.
It's an extremely tough thing. But one thing I'll tell you was that it's like, what do you call? People look up to you, and you look up to people.
Of course.
Right. Think about it. There is you are there, and there's Usain Bolt out there, and then some friend of yours who is learning to run. Will you ever give an advice to Usain Bolt? You will not.
You're not.
Right? But to the other person you will. Isn't it? So, you have to first of all create a sense of self-discipline. Okay, it's an extremely tough thing to do. Okay. Work-life balance is, right now I'm struggling a little. Not a little, quite a lot actually. But
it's very important that you sort of get that balance.
Yeah.
At least try to. Like, that is
Yeah.
something that everybody, because you have to get that mental peace also, that stability and a form of
But pick the easiest things that you can do. Okay, the easiest thing is that ensuring an 8 hours sleep.
yes.
Okay, if you're not able to sleep for more than 4 hours, go see a doctor. How much will he charge you? 400 rupees. Take 5,000 rupees also. Okay, it's your health after
Yes. And I feel like all the kind of, all the doctors that I've talked to, all the health professionals that I've talked to, they start with 8 hours of sleep and then everything else follows.
Yeah, exactly. Because, see, 8 hours is 1/3 of a day,
Yes.
isn't it? So, if you, and your day starts at 9, and if you have to complete 8 hours of sleep, and if your day starts at 9, then you have to be up by, say, at least 7:30.
Of course.
For ease of calculation, say 7 o'clock. And now reverse calculate. If it is 8 hours, you have to sleep by 11. Right? If you block that period there, everything else falls in place.
And it's a question of discipline. They say that 21 days rule. It takes 21 days to form a habit, and I guess 90 days to change a lifestyle.
Probably.
Somewhere nearby.
However, I've seen it takes only 1 day to break a momentum.
Yes.
And that momentum could be in maintaining your discipline also.
See, since you're starting, like, I feel that if you're starting a business, if you're an entrepreneur, or if you're even in a job, like, whatever you're doing needs discipline. And if you can't have that discipline in your personal life, it's somewhat hard to believe that you will get the same discipline in your professional life. And if you are able to get it in your professional life, then probably you are somebody who's capable of getting that discipline in your personal life. So why not balance it out? And it's a question of discipline at the end
It's
of the day.
entirely a question of discipline, and for that you have to fight for your rights also.
Yes.
Right? You will have a lot of conflicts. Definitely will have.
Do you have a mentor, like, since you talked about, giving advice to Usain Bolt, I would really like to ask, because I have felt somehow with a strong mentor and support system, generally people do well and they get connections, they get networks and a lot of things. So do you, have you had a mentor, or do you still have a mentor? What's the role of a mentor basically?
See, end of the day, mentors are also individual people, right?
Of course.
So you cannot rely on one person.
Yes.
You have to analyze everybody that you meet and take the best out of them.
Right.
Okay, so I'll tell you a few instances that happened back when I was in school. I was not a good student in the initial days. Say, like, till class 4th or 5th, actually it's class 7th I was not a good student.
Okay, but at
But-
least you remember most
Yeah,
of it.
I'll tell you where exactly this thing happened, where the changing point happened. One day I was just simply wasting time playing around, making aeroplanes and all, paper planes and flying around.
Yes.
So my brother just told me, okay, why don't you just solve a few mathematics problems? They're boring and all. And then just sit with me, it's easy. Don't read, just try solving it. But take it as a puzzle. I liked it. And suddenly that year I scored like 98 in mathematics.
Yeah.
Okay. And I still remember the day before that exam,
Okay.
I did not open the book at all. I went and played all the day. Okay.
I used to sleep before my maths exam.
Yeah, but you're really good at literature, so I know that.
No, even I was good at maths, but that was that was my way of calming myself down. Like if I get a good, power nap and then I go write my exam, I would somehow do well. So
Yeah, and it's not about the power nap. Think about it. A person who has not studied the entire year suddenly starts reading like 24 hours before the exam. He has only 24 hours of stressed,
yes,
those stressed and tense 24 hours to grasp everything. But another person who has read for half an hour for the past 300 days has actually covered 150 hours of studies.
if I was sure that none of my teachers or friends were watching, I would have told you that I used to go to class and take notes and stuff.
No, that's what exactly. So the beginning when I told her that 10 minutes of
Yes,
every
yes,
day,
yes.
that actually makes a lot of difference.
It does. It does.
So you have to fight for your 10 minutes even now.
Huh. Because even I say this, if you, I've started following this journaling thing, especially if you get up even 10 minutes early and take the 10 minutes to plan out your day, decide that this is what I'm going to do today, it helps a lot. It just makes the whole day easier. So,
Yeah. But here, one thing that I struggle in is in the morning, remembering that I have to invest this 10 minutes for this activity is the toughest thing. I forget.
that happens. So, any final words?
Just ensure that you know your stance at any given point in time.
Good. I think that sums it all up. Yes. So, so he's a good student. He's been an ideal student, taking notes and attending classes, something I've not done. But I think it was as much fun for you watching as it was for me talking to you. So signing off now, please stay tuned. Like the channel if you've not liked it and subscribe. Bye. See you in the next video.
Bye.